Hey guys, so day 4 today, and no bubble hat because I haven't been in work this morning. So today, although if I was wearing a hat, it'd be my pink one. It's very nice. I might wear 2 tomorrow for you, just to show them off. Feels weird not having it on. Anyway, back to business. So day 4 is about stress. Hopefully you understand from previous talks that it's all about your choices and your lifestyle. When it comes to stress, this is from many things. So we can have short-term stress from somebody breaking really quickly in front of you and you having to react to that situation. It could be an argument with a partner, your boss. It could be getting into work and opening it up to 20, 30, 50 emails when you cleared your inbox the night before. It could be training, it could be having to get out of bed. Again, all these little things are stress on the body, and stress is literally just a system to help mobilise other systems in your body and your brain. And it's to give you the urge to do something or say something. So it's looking for an action for you to take. It wants us to do something. Stressors in your life can be psychological. So if you've ever experienced abuse, trauma, worked in a very stressful, demanding job, so you NHS workers, emergency services, armed forces, again, this is daily stress. You do see some traumatic things and it sits with you, and if you don't deal with that, then it kind of compounds and it can lead to long-term stress, which is the kind of stress that we do not want in our life at all. That's the sort of stress that leads to illness and a lot of other lifestyle choices that lead you to living in a vicious cycle of emotional eating, drinking away your problems, feeling depressed, not having the energy or motivation to get up and do anything. And then on the flip side, we also have physical stress as well. So this will be just day-to-day stuff like exercising. And life happens, so we can't avoid stress at any point, but it isn't ultimately bad. It can be bad when you don't deal with it though. So again, another double-edged sword. What do you do? Where do you start? How do you pick it all apart? And how do you help yourself? 2 things that I want you to think about are, how do you respond to stress? And I say respond because 9 times out of 10, we're just going to react to situations. I lose my shit pretty easily. I would call myself somebody that has a short fuse. You would have seen last night, for those that watched day 3 live video in the evening, that my youngest came into the room, was trying to distract me, thought he was being funny, and he was getting ready for football. I had to respond to that. And I responded to that in a different way because I was actually live with you guys. If I was on the phone to somebody, I would have put it on mute and told him to get the fuck out and get his football stuff ready and to leave. So again, being aware of the situations that you're in and how you're going to respond to events that crop up are going to make a huge difference. I'm a road rager. Actually, people just annoy me. I lost my shit at work because somebody walked in with a load of muddy shoes and they got mud all over the gym. That's not something I expected to go into work for. I was pretty angry. I put out a story. I was effing and jeffing. I didn't want the member to stay. It irritated me and I reacted in the only way that I know is to just rant and rave. Whereas if I'd have been told that there was mud on the gym floor and how bad it was, I could have just checked, and again, it washes up. It's nothing major. I'm not going to die. So one thing that I am trying to work on, and it's daily, is how I respond to life situations that crop up. A lot of it I just can't control. I can't control what my ex is going to say to me. For those that have followed me, I am somebody that has come from abusive relationships, and I have a lot of trouble with my boy's dad, and it seems to be never ending, and it gets to me and I snap. So best thing for me is just to bloody ignore it. No. So again, it's just choosing what you need to spend your energy on reacting to or responding to. And if you are somebody that deals with stress on a daily basis, then it's taking a moment to assess the situation and respond rather than reacting. And I'm not going to say it's easy, because it's really, really hard. And obviously I want to give you a tool that will help. And the best one that you have with you at all times is to breathe. It's not mindfulness, it's nothing like that. It is just taking a moment to inhale and exhale. There is something called the sigh. So in science it's known as the physiological sigh. If you've had children, toddlers especially, when they're having a meltdown, they will cry and cry and cry and cry to the point that they can't breathe, and then they'll go that is the physiological sigh. So it's like a double inhale with a very long exhale. That will be one of the best things that you can do, and it's remembering to do it at any situation that you feel your stress increasing to calm yourself down. How do you know when you're getting stressed? Think about how your body feels when something or somebody pisses you off, because that's what it comes down to 9 times out of 10, day to day. How are you instinctively wanting to react to that situation? Because if you're somebody that gets stressed all the time throughout the day, and you're shouting at your kids, and you're just being a miserable person, nobody wants to be around you, and you kind of hate yourself for that, bad man vibes, you can change that. One thing that I started to do when I was coming home from work, doing 15-hour shifts, was once I'd parked up outside, instead of coming in and thinking about what I was doing at work and being moody and miserable because maybe the kids hadn't cleaned up, but it's not their responsibility because they were younger at the time, I would think of something really positive, something that made me happy, and I would smile before I came into the house. That helped me massively. So again, it is kind of like a mind trick, so you're switching your attention, what you're thinking about in that moment, so it doesn't impact other people, because I think that's really unfair as well. Other people getting your shit when it's something that you can probably have better control over is going to help you. When it comes to other short-term stressors, so when I was saying like work, financial stress, arguing with your partner, again, stress is a trigger for you to do something or say something. So say something. Tell that person that they've actually annoyed you. You know, I don't appreciate you coming into my gym with muddy footwear. I expect better from the members that come here. Treat it like your second home. You wouldn't do it at your grandma's house. Take your shoes off. Train barefoot. If I'd have just kept all that in and not said anything to anybody, they're not going to know what to do. They're not going to know what to change. The same thing is going to be true for anybody else in your life. If somebody's doing something that you don't like and it's starting to get on your nerves, tell them, but tell them in a way where you get what you want to say across in a calm manner, rather than just shouting, blaming and complaining. Put it down in an email. Again, if it's something that you can say, get it said. If you want to, you can write it down in a diary for yourself just to read, and you can reflect on it, and then you can talk to that person when you've had time to collect your thoughts and respond in a professional manner, and get it done. Stress, so we've talked. So breathing is one drill that you can use. So how does stress stop you losing weight? Well, it's going to come down to your reactions. So if you're somebody that has dealt with a lot of stress in your life, experienced a bit of trauma, and you've only learned to do things that make you feel good. So again, this is going to come down to your attachments with food, alcohol, drugs. It's whatever you do in order to calm yourself down, relax, switch off. Some of those are going to be unhealthy behaviours. Most of you are here in order to get healthy, improve your fitness, change your life, be around for years to come for your kids. So those choices are going to impact you. And the thing with stress is, when we have a bout of stress, it increases adrenaline in our body and cortisol. That then impacts how our insulin, which is your blood sugar levels, is managed. So we get a surge of blood glucose. So in order for us to respond to situations and react, our body is going to need energy. Even if we've recently eaten, our body's not going to know that. It's already pre-programmed to drive a surge of energy by processing what's stored in the liver, and breaking down usually amino acids, which is from protein, which we store in the body as muscle. So instead of tapping into your fat stores, your body is just going to process instant amounts of sugar to pump into your bloodstream so you have energy in order to deal with that situation. A lot of people refer to stress as being running from the bear or running from the tiger. It is, your body wants you to take action. It doesn't matter, it doesn't recognise what that situation is. It just knows that you're going through some kind of stress. You need some energy to deal with it. Let's go. You probably also feel your heart rate increase, your breathing will change, your head will start going fuzzy, you might get sweaty palms. Again, your body's going through some physiological changes because your brain has recognised there's a threat to you and it's doing what it knows best in order to help you deal with that stressor. So when we have that increase in cortisol, it is going to impact your blood sugar levels. Your body's going to get an insane desire to eat, so your appetite is going to be increased for some people. Again, it's not everybody and it depends on what stress you're dealing with. It's also going to mean that you may get cravings at those points, but that's merely because your brain wants you to have some form of energy. It's just needed. So those things you may not have control over, but if you can be aware of the situations that are making you feel stressed, you can then respond in a better way. You don't need to eat because actually you don't need to run away from anything that is going to kill you or chew your head off. You may need some energy to punch somebody in the face, but I really don't recommend violence. Maybe just punch a punch bag or a pillow or scream outside. They all tend to help. The other implication when we have increased cortisol in our bloodstream is what happens to your fat cells. So when I was speaking, I think Monday, about nutrition, and might have even been Tuesday when we were talking about behaviours and hormones, and I spoke about ghrelin and leptin and insulin. With this surge and need for sugar in our system, which our body's going to just give us anyway even if we haven't eaten, that sugar in our blood, which is energy, if that doesn't get used by running away from that lion, it's going to get stored. That's going to go back into fat cells. So for somebody lean, it's not going to make a difference because your fat cells are going to be small, so they've got room to kind of expand. For people who are overweight, obese, have a lot of weight that they want to lose, that unused energy is going to be converted from the sugar into fatty acids, and it is going to get stored in your fat cells. Usually those fatty acids get stored in or around your organs. So people that tend to have a lot of stomach fat or apple shaped, guys that you tend to see with like your beer bellies, again, that's not just diet, some of that could be because of stress. Fat is going to accumulate around what we call your visceral areas, so that puts extra demand on your organs and ultimately your health, and this is where you then have other implications and are prone to chronic illness and disease. So it's not very good. This is where cardiovascular disease comes in, diabetes, you can start having heart issues, sleep apnea is a big one that starts to impact. So everything kind of comes together, all because of the choices that we make, the way that we've grown up and learned to deal with situations and people, things that we've been influenced by social media, friends, family. So it's learning, it's now taking a step back to be the one to say, no, I'm not going to deal with it that way. So all that made sense. I'm going to stop for a moment and just collect my thoughts, and I'll have a little look at some of the comments. Yeah, no heckler, but I said I would have worn my pink one. I feel like I should put a hat on. Should I put a hat on? No. Yeah, I think as we get older, we just stop giving a shit. I read a great book called How to Stop Giving a Fuck, and I think it was by Mark Manson. Great person to follow. And one thing that stuck with me was, if it's not a fuck yes, then it's a no. Stop doing stuff that doesn't sit well with you. Stop saying yes to people just because you don't want to offend them, or you don't want to upset your boss, or you don't want to fall out and have an argument with somebody. If it's something you don't want to do, say no. And you don't even need to give a reason why. No. As a mum, that's going to be hard because sometimes you got to say yes, but stop giving a fuck. No one cares. Your boss doesn't give a shit. Most companies don't care. Start saying yes to stuff you want to do. Read that book. It's great. Okay, there's no comments. So just to recap, stress is just a system for your brain and body to mobilise other systems in order to help you respond, not react, to what is going on, the stresses in your life. We have short-term stress, which is beneficial to you. Again, it's just helping you get through day to day and keeping you safe. Medium level stress is usually when we're focusing on deadlines, we're like avoiding doing the work we should be doing, you know, because it's just going to make us feel uncomfortable and we don't really want to do it, and we kind of put things off. It's avoidant behaviours that then creates stress, because as you get closer and closer to having to do that thing, it drags on for a while. Long-term stress is the negative stuff that we want to avoid. Usually that can be down to experiences in your life and stuff that you've just not dealt with, and you push it all under the carpet. It could be the work that you're in, long term. Hopefully you didn't miss any of that. Popped up as poor connection. When we deal with a stressor, a stressful event, that pumps out cortisol into our body, and it gives a signal for our liver to produce sugar, so we then get energy in our body in order to help us deal with that stressor. Whether or not we need to run or move, stress is a signal for us to say something or do something. So our body does that without us even thinking, and we cannot change it. It's going to pump sugars into your bloodstream. If you are already overweight and have fat that you don't like, or you're not lean or anything, then that energy, if it's not used because you're not running away from danger, then it's going to go back into your body and it's going to be converted into fatty acids, and that is then going to get stored in fat cells. This is why you may struggle with losing weight, and no matter what you're doing, even if you are in a calorie deficit, fat is not shifting. It is being stored, maybe because you are somebody that is dealing with a lot of stress in your day-to-day life and you're not managing it. So the tools that I recommend you try and start using is the physiological sigh. So it's a double inhale with a long exhale. I'll try and do it. It's a kind of, it happens naturally when you go to bed. Just like, you can just go, do that more often. Actually, it is pretty calming. Just try it. Doesn't matter if you breathe in through your nose, it's just 2 short inhales, long exhale. Give it a go. The other thing you can do is box breathing. So if you've got an app there, that's a little bit more difficult because then you've got to think about getting the app open and doing it. But if you can just say double inhale, long exhale, calm yourself down. That can also work as well if you struggle to get to sleep, so try that. And the last tool is, if something is stressing you out, write it down, say something about it, or do something to deal with it. Don't keep ignoring it. Don't keep just trying to get by. Stop, assess the situation. What is going on? Is it worth me saying anything? how can I say it, get it done. Don't let it dwell on you, because then it just gets worse and worse and worse. It's how we create that mountain out of a molehill. So yeah, learn to respond rather than react. There's other things that you can read into as well. Some people refer it to the chimp part of your brain. But again, you do have control over your life. Some things we do instinctively. Again, that is just to keep us safe. So when somebody does stop in front of you and they put the brakes on, your natural instinct will be to put the brakes on and respond, but you will then have the after effects of stress by maybe heart rate going 10 to the dozen, sweaty palms, but you're going to have a surge of energy in your body anyway. So pull over, take time to just breathe. Do the same when you're experiencing any kind of stress in your life, and let me know how you're getting on. Your task today is literally just trying to identify the stress that you may be trying to cope with or deal with. So think about whether that's short-term stress. Again, I will put a PDF out so you can kind of go through it and understand this in a lot more detail. And I'll write up a summary as well. And then consider long-term stress that you may have been dealing with. And this can go on from previous relationships. It could be going through a house sale. It could be working somewhere that you don't like. Again, it's something that is the same thing that you just keep doing over and over again and just putting up with. This compounds to chronic stress. So think about what stress you have in your life. Think about what you really need to put your energy into, and yeah, try the sigh to see if that helps you in little situations of stress. I really hope that's made sense to you. If any of you are struggling, again, I put a message out earlier about a couple of you, so just thanked those that have signed up for the 30-day plan and the 90-day, which I haven't even advertised. Thank you. And if any of you were considering or maybe needing more help, then just send me a private message. It's absolutely fine. I don't actually work with people one-to-one, but just online coaching, you get this, you get me over the camera, you get me on the phone, I will do what I can to try and help you understand what you can do to help yourself. So I'll leave that there. There won't be a live this evening, but there will be some documents going into the page today, and I'll keep an eye on any comments or questions that you have. And then tomorrow I'm going to put it all together, and then as a bonus I'm just going to recap or throw in a little bit of discussion about female hormones, because there's a lot of us here that are going through perimenopause or have gone through the stage of menopause. That does have an impact on your choices again, but it all comes down to the basics. If we get the basics right, we suffer less, but there are some things that you can do to help yourself. So tomorrow we'll be just recapping everything, and I will do a live Q&A tomorrow night, and hopefully some of you will ask questions. Thank you, have a great Thursday, and I'll see you later. Bye.